You have perhaps already heard that we have to follow one type of English only, either British or American. But the problem is, what are the differences between these two types of English, especially in terms of the spelling, because we are not allowed to mix two different spelling in our test. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the difference between British and American English. Now, British and American English, although they have most of the words with similar spelling, have differences in the spelling of some of the words. And we'll go through these words one by one, starting with the most common one, that is the words ending with RE. The examples of these words are the words like center or the other words like liter. In British English, these words are spelled as RE here, but in American English, they are spelled as ER, like this. So the first difference between British and American English spelling is the way we write the words ending with RE. In British English, they are spelled as RE. In American English, they are spelled as ER. The second word which has difference in British and American English is the words ending with OUR. These words are spelled in two different ways in British and American. Again, in British English, we say honor with HONOUR or color with COLOUR. But in American English, we write HONOR and color as COLOR. So next time you are writing the spelling of these words, make sure that you are being consistent and you're following either the British or the American pattern. The third word which have differences in spelling are the words ending with IAC or IZD. Now many people find it confusing because most of us use computers for typing, and in most of the computers the default setting is for the American English. So you might see that when you write IAC, there will be a red squiggly line below the word telling you that your spelling is wrong. The reason for that is IAC is British English and IZD is American English. Some examples of these words would be the words like apologize. Now, if I write apologize in British English, I'll write IAC. But if I'm writing the same thing in American English, it will be apologize as ZE. And the other words perhaps would be organize. And here the organize will be like this. So this is another difference between British and American English. Now, the next one will be the words ending in YSC. Now, you may have seen the words being spelled as YSC or YZE. Just like before, SE is British English, so analyze written in this way is British English, but analyze written in this way is American English. So this is another difference between British and American. Or you can also see the spelling of the word paralyze. Paralyze, this is British, and paralyze, this one is American. All right, the next word or the next spelling difference is when we are writing words which have L at the end and before them you have got a vowel. Or in other words, I'm talking about the words like travel. So in this example, you can see that this is L at the end and E is a vowel. Now, when you are changing the form of these words, that means if you're writing, let's say, traveled or traveling, you have to write this L two times in British English. But in American English, traveled is spelled in this way with single L, and traveling is also spelled in this way with single L. Similarly, if you look at the other words like fuel, so if you are saying fueled, then in British English you'll have to write L twice, but in American English you'll only write it once. So I think this is another important thing for you to keep in mind regarding the differences. Now, the next one is the words which have CE at the end. These words are the words like defense or license. Now, I want you to focus on this last part, CE. This is the British spelling, but Americans usually write this as SE, defense and license. Again, do not unknowingly change the spelling of the word and be inconsistent. You have to make sure that either you are following this pattern or this pattern. The second last difference is the words ending with OZUE. And the example of this will be the words like catalog. Now, catalog with OZUE is British spelling, but in American spelling, they usually prefer catalog without UE, but this one is also acceptable. So in some of the places, even if it's American English, you might see this. So this is fine. The last word in this series is a little bit complex for some of us to understand, and that is when in British English we are using the vowels A in E together or O in E together, we just write both of them. What I mean by that is if you're writing anemia in British English, you'll write it like this. Now, one peculiarity of American English regarding these words is they always drop A or O and only use E. And what that means is rather than writing A and AE, they just write anemia like this. So no A. Okay, let's look at the spelling of another word, maneuver. This is the spelling of maneuver in British English. But if you're writing the same thing in American English, let's look at the word because it has two different peculiarities of British English. The first is, if you look carefully, as I told you already, OE, if they come together in American English, you only write E like this, and then UV, now wait, RE in British English becomes ER in American English. So you can see that these two words look very similar, but this is American spelling and this is British spelling. So today I told you about a few differences between British and American English. So if you really want to learn about all the differences, which may not be necessary, you can search online and check the Cambridge Dictionary or Oxford Dictionary, which can give you a comprehensive idea about this. But if you're preparing for PT and you just want to brush up your idea of the British and American spelling differences, this video covers all the important things you have to keep in mind. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.